Since you guys liked the last one, here's a few more. This is a selection of oddities, mostly from the direct-to-video era of the 80s and 90s. Catastrophe. I love cats. Not in a weird way, I just love cats. Now, Catastrophe is someone loving cats in a weird way.
Oh my god, I think it's really working. Oh my god, I'm making it move.
This is a 17-minute short movie about an elite dynasty of cats that engage in witchcraft and other forms of magic. This short was written and directed by Scream Queen Pamela Such. Pamela is the star of such movies as Paranormal Captivity, Alien Autopsy, no, not that one, the one with the boobs, Psycho Sisters, and Psycho Sisters, the remake. The cast is all cats and one bird. Pamela and Paige Moody provide the voices. This was filmed in 1999 and released in 2000, so it's something that really came along at the tail end of the direct-to-video VHS craze. Weird doesn't quite cover this one. Bizarre, bonkers, and any other synonyms you can pile on. Okay, really? It's kinda wholesome, and just a bit ahead of its time considering how much the internet loves cats. The VHS also has the longer film, The Gosh Darn Mortgage, an odd comedy that seems to be an homage to the old Snidely Whiplash cartoons. Pamela uploaded the whole thing on her YouTube channel years ago, and it looks better than the VHS copy. Roller Coaster Thrills. Back in the day, Kodak released a series of videos on a variety of topics. One of them was this video about roller coasters. The video was released in 1988, and you could order it directly by mail with Kodak. This is a video that shows a bunch of what I can only assume are some of the best roller coasters from the time, all presented in glorious VHS. The video follows the narrative where this kid gets ditched by his dad for being too short to go on a roller coaster. So this ice cream creep comes along and tells him all about roller coasters.
You like movies about gladiators?
Okay, really, he helps him to imagine what it would be like to go on the best roller coasters in the country. Hey kid, you know what's just as good as roller coasters? Imagining roller coasters.
You think it. Close your eyes and pretend you're the very first car aboard Colossus.
Eat these mushrooms and you can ride roller coasters in your mind. We then watch footage of each of these from various camera angles. Personally, I think it would have been better to just show the ride front to back from the perspective of being on the coaster, but instead they show it from on the coaster and then on the ground and so on. It's really a precursor to those Amusement Park HD YouTube channels, where they go on rides all over the world, just with these weird interludes. Although they at least show the entire ride from the perspective of the seats, which really is ideal. The video is about 30 minutes long, although about 5 minutes of that is ads for other Kodak videos. All in all, it's footage from about 10 different roller coasters from across the US. No idea if these coasters are still running or not. I'll be honest, I hate roller coasters, so this is about the closest I'll get to riding one. At the end, they roll the credits, so I was assuming the father just left the kid there with the ice cream man. But then he does show up at the very end and promises to find a roller coaster the kid can actually ride on. I'm surprised Napoleon here was tall enough to get on the coaster. I mean, he's shorter than these teenage girls. The video's on YouTube if you want to see it. It delivers some serious nostalgia. Cigars the New Rage. Forget the old rages. This is the new rage. From the back of the box. Take an exciting journey and discover everything you want to know about the sensuous pleasures of cigar enjoyment. They are overselling this a bit. Cigars the New Rage is hosted and produced by Rick Dees, a DJ and creator of the Disco Duck. Something I didn't think I would ever be referencing again. In doing this, we see some places where a bunch of locals are working in sweatshops, slaving in non-air-conditioned rooms to roll tobacco for clients like this guy. They try to present it as this time-honored tradition, and to a certain extent it is, but you still know the people working here aren't loving this, no matter how much they cheer at the camera. Dees hangs out with some underpants-wearing ladies before traveling around to various locations to learn about the history of cigars. Okay, really? He occasionally goes to a few places, but mostly, his camera crew goes there, and he awkwardly and very obviously is inserted in later for the interview sections. They didn't even bother to match the day and night shots, so it's obvious he's not really there. Unless that's the joke.
Do you know where I could find a Denny's around here?
Since cigars were all the rage, he has some celebrities show up to talk about them. The biggest is Arnold Schwarzenegger, who discusses how he started smoking them, and then goes off on an overlong tangent that would have been cut if it was anyone else other than the biggest star in the world at the time.
I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
They then go to this super elite place where famous multimillionaires meet up and have their own personalized cigar lockers. They stand around and smoke cigars while discussing how great it is to be rich and smoke cigars. Dees goes to the $10 million wine cellar to discuss some ancient wine and what variety pairs with what cigar. Oh great, this is some really, really old vinegar that no one will ever drink. They also go to an event called the Big Smoke and interview Richard Hacker, who is the foremost expert on cigars. He explains important things like how to properly light them, and why some light cigars with a piece of wood. It's an interesting look into a world that I had no idea existed, and seeing a bunch of smug celebrities blowing tons of money up in smoke, well, I don't have a point other than that I was kind of annoyed. I'm not one to say how someone should spend their money, so they're welcome to do this if they so desire.
$12,500.
$12,500.
It's called a pyramid.
I still can say that they come off like a bunch of rich elitist assholes. If I had this kind of money, I'd be spending it on something worthwhile, like my own castle or warehouse filled with arcade games, with blackjack and hookers. I recognize Dees was the guy who put this all together, but he just comes off as extremely unlikable. If perhaps someone else did the interviews, it might have been a little bit more enjoyable. He just seems like somebody who really wanted to be in the limelight and mushed himself in as much as possible.
Do you know where I could find a Burger King around here?
This was from 1996, and while I know cigar culture is still very much a thing, I do wonder how many of the people in this are still smoking. I just checked, and not only is Arnold still smoking cigars, but he's telling stories about his experiences with cigars. He does seem to be able to get to the point quicker than he did back in 96. The video has been uploaded to YouTube a few times, so it's easy to find. Galactic Video Review Adventure Magazine. This one is pretty amazing. It's a video game review show that is channeling some of that old school 50s sci-fi serial energy. It's hosted by character actor Robert Z'Dar, who must have been down on his luck when he did this. Either that or they threw enough money at him until he accepted. From the back of the box. For the first time, you can see the video games and learn a few hints before you buy them. Join the adventure. This was back when video games were still relatively in their infancy. Well, maybe not infancy, but let's say toddler phase at the latest. Anyway, while there were some TV shows at the time with video game elements, this was a 40-minute program that not only reviewed the games, but also showed what they'd look like in action. The show had Robert Z'Dar as Commander Varnak and his crew Cadet Bob and Cadet Sabrina. They traveled the galaxy fighting off the evil Emperor Barriss on a set that was either borrowed from Corman or they used the Corman sci-fi building technique. They review Adventure Island, Karnov, Millipede, and more. They also talk about the best-selling games from the time. Keeping with the old serial style, they insert footage from old 50s sci-fi, stuff that was probably in the public domain. It seems there was at least one more of these made, but I couldn't find it anywhere. I really enjoyed this and would love to see more. It's some of that magical garbage that only exists on these old tapes. Z'Dar is hamming it up as much as possible, and while this isn't a high-profile job like Tango and Cash, he's not phoning it in. He's obviously having a ton of fun, and for that, I respect him even more. For all the direct-to-video things that made it into series, why couldn't this have been one of them? I need more! The video's on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. Speaking of viewing pleasure, Nude Bowling Party. The previous ones are all on YouTube. This one, most certainly, is not. Who doesn't want to watch 4 beautiful women playing strip bowling? Okay, it's not exactly that, but oh, there is indeed nudity. Dare I say too much nudity? Nude Bowling Party pits two teams of very attractive ladies against each other. There's the dancers versus the models. I believe the dancers are strippers, but the models are actresses from a variety of B-movies and softcore flicks. The actresses are Tammy Parks and Sarah St. James, who sometimes goes by Jacqueline Lovell. For some reason, they gave the ladies all different names instead of just having them play themselves. I guess maybe this was so they could think they were acting and not just being paid to strip for a bunch of weirdos. Produced by Scott Spiegel, Sam Raimi's buddy, who helped him with many of his features, including Evil Dead 2. His perv switch goes off and he makes this oddity. The girls aren't the best bowlers, and in the beginning, it does seem like there would have been some kind of competitive element to the video. However, the program quickly loses focus to the point of where we don't even see if the girls make their shots or not, because the camera is too busy focusing on their ass. Just like the mind of the audience, this immediately goes into the gutter. I thought they would do something like strip bowling, or perhaps they'd lose an article of clothing every round, but nope. The girls immediately strip, and by the end of the second frame, they are all completely naked. So now for roughly another hour, they're just nude playing bowling poorly. I know this may sound wrong, but really? You do kind of lose interest after them being nude for almost the entire thing. It's not that they're not nice to look at, it's just that there should be a little bit more. It's occasionally broken up with some silly bits, but it's not enough to cover for the rest of the program. Maybe if they did a few more comedy bits, it may have helped. Yes, the girls are very attractive, but with something like Fishin' with the Biggins, we got a lot of genuine fishing knowledge mixed in with the nudity. This is just bad jokes and pretty naked ladies bowling. Oh, and it's some of the worst audio editing I've heard in a long time.
Take a cup of those little tablets, and you won't even know you're alive.
Hey, I'm ready to bowl.
Out of the two teams, it did seem like Sarah St. James and Tammy Parks were having the most fun with it. I was surprised in the end when they announced the ladies are playing for prizes. Second place gets a pearl necklace, womp womp, and the winners get a diamond necklace. I have no way of knowing, but I am almost positive the prizes were gags and not real. Or who knows? Spiegel may have had money to burn after Evil Dead 2. I guess in the end, the winner is the audience. As I said, obviously, this is not on YouTube. So there's some more direct-to-video fare from the magical time of VHS. I have enough of these for a landfill, so I don't see myself running out anytime soon. In other words, more to come.
Shazam! Shazam!